today on 15 on 15.
The Aruba dog owner explains why this case shouldn't affect tourists in the future wanting to adopt animals off the island. Plus, eat as much rice as you want because researchers from Sri Lanka have found a way to make it less calorific. And March 24th is World TB Day. Let's learn more about the disease. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yentl Lieuw. The story of Whitey, or Coco the dog, is no doubt controversial. Some are saying this development is putting the island in a negative light when it comes to future tourists wanting to adopt a stray off of Aruba. The alleged owner of the dog, who lives on the island part-time, has spent a few $1,000s in legal fees and has generated international headlines. Many on the island have voiced their concerns as to how this story could jeopardize visitors in the future wanting to adopt a stray from Aruba. I sat down with Cornelia for her comments regarding this very issue. Cornelia Hadjinyak says she is aware of the serious stray dog issue Aruba has. She does not feel that her decision to sue the couple from Boston who decided to adopt Whitey is detrimental to tourists in the future wanting to bring an animal back home from the island.
Well, first of all, I think this shouldn't affect if somebody wants to adopt a real homeless dog or not. But I would maybe make sure that the dog really doesn't have an owner, which was not made with my dog, because it's not possible within 48 hours without posting or reporting anything and not talking to any other vet on the island. There are not so many of them, and seeing the big scars that she had from the recent surgery. One should at least make the effort to find out if the dog has an owner or not, or otherwise wait maybe a little bit longer and post something that the owner has a chance to find the dog.
Ms. Hadjinyak, who lives in Switzerland and is on Aruba part-time, says her and her boyfriend have invested emotionally and financially in the dog. Cornelia insists she shouldn't have to let her pet go considering Aruba's situation with homeless animals. She claims her case is a separate issue.
I believe that this shouldn't have any impact of adopting dogs in Aruba, because as I said, if you make sure that the dog doesn't have an owner, nothing will happen. And even in this case, where they didn't make sure that it doesn't have an owner and it came out it has an owner, and they were contacted by me and I approached them in a nice manner, and you could have reversed the mistake easily by just sending the dog back. And actually, I don't understand why they didn't do that, why they are insisting on keeping the dog. And I also don't understand why ARF is supporting that behavior.
ARF being the Animal Rescue Foundation of Aruba. Cornelia says she hopes to resolve the situation in a civilized manner and reach an agreement outside of the court. Aruba Rescue Foundation has shared a statement that was written by the Boston couple who adopted the dog. Take a look. Coco is the name of Lisa O'Connell's dog, in which she adopted from Aruba. Lisa encountered Coco twice on the island before deciding to move forward and taking her in. In a release statement, she describes the state Coco was in when she first met her. She was loaded with blood-engorged ticks, which I took many of them off of her. With a very heavy heart, I was forced to leave her on the beach. I found her again on Tuesday laying in the sand at the resort. Once again, she had blood-engorged ticks all over her, even in her ears. Coco appeared to be in distress and was hungry, thirsty, and had several large scars on her tiny body. According to the American Tourist, she followed all the proper procedures in bringing Coco back home with her. After verifying with a vet that she was healthy enough to travel, their journey with their new pet began. Coco is not the O'Connells' first pet that they've rescued off the Caribbean. I made arrangements with an animal welfare rescue, ARF, whom coordinated a flight for Coco to go on along with a flyer who would be responsible for her. We also checked Aruba Lost and Found to make sure she was not a lost pet. Nothing was found, so after several days, Coco was brought from the vet to the airport and began her journey to her new home in the U.S. Coco has settled in so nicely with me and my family and her doggy sister Macy, whom I rescued from the Grand Bahama Humane Society back in September of 2012. The O'Connells did a good deed by adopting what they thought was a stray off the island, but unfortunately this decision has dragged them into an ugly situation. I contacted this woman through email to let her know Coco was safe and would be loved and taken care of for the rest of her life. The woman immediately said she wanted her dog back and has infiltrated my life since then. She sent the police to my house. She sent out invites to people on my friends list on Facebook to like a page dedicated to the dog and with disparaging comments about me. The O'Connells insist they followed proper steps. They have asked for donations on GoFundMe.com/Lisa Coco to pay off the legal bills that are piling up over the dog. On that note, we will be right back. Stay with us. If you love to order takeout but hate the human contact that comes with it, then Seamless is for you. Welcome back from the break. You are watching 15 on 15. Within the Aruban and Chinese culture, amongst many others, rice is traditionally a main component of a meal. So it's a good thing that scientists have discovered a way to make rice less calorific. Eat rice cold for fewer calories. That is what Sri Lankan researchers are advising. Boil it with coconut oil and then refrigerate for half a day before eating. Studies have found treating rice in this way reduces its calories by up to 60%. This method makes the starch in the rice less digestible, so the body takes on less fuel than it otherwise would. Starchy foods such as rice, which are known as carbohydrates, are a good source of energy. When we eat them, our body breaks them down into simple sugars. Any that is left over will be stored by the body and quickly converted to glucose as needed. But too much glucose circulating in the blood can ultimately end up being stored as fat. Scientists have long been experimenting to see if they can alter foods to trick the body into absorbing less fuel to keep blood sugar and calories consumed lower. Here is something else you should know. UK researchers have already shown that cooking and then cooling pasta will create a smaller glucose peak even if you then reheat the cold pasta. Investigators from Sri Lanka say the same is true for rice. 38 varieties of rice were tested in the study. Switching over to the internet. Remember this sound? That's right. Internet Explorer first took over the net by storm when it came out, but it is time to say goodbye to the outdated browser. Microsoft has confirmed plans to use a new name for its upcoming browser successor, codenamed Project Spartan. Microsoft is currently working on a new name and brand. Internet Explorer will still exist in some versions of Windows 10, mainly for enterprise compatibility, but the new Project Spartan will be named separately and will be the primary way for Windows 10 users to access the web. Microsoft has tried to shake off that negative image of Internet Explorer over the past several years with a series of amusing campaigns mocking Internet Explorer 6, but was unsuccessful. The next service I'm about to show you is both bizarre and silly, but if you are the type of person who likes to avoid strangers and human contact, then it is most definitely for you. Seamless revolutionizes food delivery by letting you order takeout online rather than having to talk to a person on the phone. The newest invention is called Seamless No Human. Simply select No Human on your order and the delivery person will place your food at the door, then sprint away, so there's no human interaction. But the human in your hallway could still see you, so with your first order, it will come with a food claw, so you can grab your food without any human eye contact. Seamless is also working on drone deliveries, so your takeout can be delivered to you by a non-judgmental robot. If you like the concept of Seamless, that means you want food and not all the psychological minefield of human interaction that it comes with nowadays. Seamless thinks saying hi and thank you to a stranger is just too much and unnecessary. Hence this concept. Let's take a very quick break. Here is what's coming up next. When we return, TB is airborne and contagious. More information next. March 24th is World Tuberculosis Day. We speak to a nurse to bring further awareness regarding the disease. TB is airborne and can infect anyone.
TB is tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a disease. It's caused by the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It's airborne, so you can get infected by sneezing or coughing.
The nurse from the Department of Public Health describes some of the symptoms a patient of TB may have.
A few of the symptoms of that when you have TB is coughing. It can go so far as the person that is infected will cough blood. Another symptom is fatigue, fever and chills, coughing, night sweats, loss of appetites, and extreme weight loss.
Severe consequences include a patient continuously spreading the disease. If a patient does not seek medical treatment, they can also die from the disease. TB is easily treatable, however, it does take time, between 6 months to 1 year's time, to eradicate the disease from the body. From this year's World TB Day, the Department of Public Health would like to advise people not to panic if they encounter someone with the disease, because there are many factors to consider prior to assuming you have contracted the disease.
One of them is the contact with the carrier or the patient, the time that you have been in contact with the patient. If you work with someone, the chances that you will get the disease is less than if you live with someone. One very important factor is also the ventilation of where the patient is. We know that in Aruba, all the houses are very well ventilated. We have the North-Oost Passat we are very windy. Another factor is the duration of the exposure that you have with the carrier. And one very important factor is the level of immunity of yourself.
That is all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. right here on Channel 15 ATV. We'll see you then.